Hey, fellow golfers, this is Robbie from Best Ball. One of the most popular names in the golf accessory market today is Western Birch. Stop reaching in your pocket for boring plastic or plain white golf tees and elevate your game with premium wooden golf tees from Western Birch. You can customize both the hardwood and bamboo tees with one of their signature stripe patterns in a wide variety of colors. These tees are stylish enough to stand apart from the crowd, traditional enough to align with golf's heritage, and durable enough to make you forget about using anything else. Enter the code BESTBALL in the promo field in your shipping cart to add a free gift to your order. So visit westernbirch.com and get your own premium wood golf tees in the style that suits your game.
Then from a design standpoint, we just kind of made it cool and fun. We have a million different color schemes in our different stripe patterns. And if you are a guy who likes or a gal who likes blue and gold, or whatever, we've got one that matches for you. If you just want a million different jazzy looking ones and mix them up and throw them in your bag and pull them out and they're all cool, you can do that too. If you want to take them and drop a personal logo on them or a business logo or something, we can do that in a very short run with a short turnaround. We just made it so you could kind of express yourself. You could match whatever you want to match. We just created tons of options in an approachable way, where you don't have to buy in bulk to get something that looks cool.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and fellow golf fans, to another edition of the Whole Story Podcast. Robbie and Jonathan here. We are joined by another special guest today, Lewis Rittberger of Western Birch Golf Company. Lewis, let me give a little background for him. He's in Cleveland, Ohio. He's a former junior, also heralded junior golfer and college golfer at Elon, which is right up the street. I'm in South Carolina. That's up in the North Carolina area. Purchased Stinger Tee Golf back in 2007 and created Western Birch. So, Lewis, welcome and thanks for joining us on the Whole Story Podcast.
Yeah, man. Thanks so much for having me. I hope I'm a worthy guest.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, I guess as we dig into to the golf stuff, why don't we start with your background and see, I guess where all that began. When did you first pick up a club and start playing this game?
It's been a long time. My dad got me introduced to the game. I think I was maybe six or so. Uh, Very typical beginning. I think just getting dragged out to the local par three golf course, a place called Locust Grove that is no longer in existence here in Cleveland. That was my first experience playing, and I remember going out early with my dad and starting on the 150 markers and teeing up my driver there, and then gradually working your way back to eventually playing red tees and white tees and the usual kind of progression. I think fell in love with it, was addicted to it real early on. Could hardly think about doing anything else. I mean, I played all the sports as a kid, but by 8 or 9 years old, maybe somewhere around there, it was golf and golf only, just because I couldn't get enough of it and had no time for anything else. So, yeah, I remember my dad worked at a company here called Lincoln Electric. He lives in Charlotte now, but he worked there for a long time. He ran the golf league there, and at the time was a really well participated league. I used to play with them every Saturday morning. As a little kid, kind of getting dragged around, whether the guys wanted me there or not, I was there, and played junior golf. First golf tournament starting at 8 years old. Played a billion junior golf tournaments, and lucky enough to play a little bit in college. Certainly was a good player, was far from great, and now I play just for fun as much as I can, and it's kind of come back around. Had a couple of kids, didn't play much for a while, coming back around again, but I just love it. I love every bit of it. I love going to travel and seeing cool places. I love working on my game. I love grinding on my game, hitting balls. I got a full length mirror in my office around the corner. I'm making swings in front of it all day long. It's everything to me.
So, how do you go from playing golf to like jumping in with all the both feet of buying Stinger golf tees back in 2007?
Yeah, I knew the guy who had started the business. It was kind of like a hobby business that grew into a real business that he didn't even necessarily want to be running. Quite as substantial as it got. It was a tiny little business, but he really started as a hobby. When I graduated from college, I worked for him for a year and bought it and thought I knew what I was doing. Looking back, I don't know. I don't think I got a lot of good advice because it was a crazy thing to do and didn't know anything about it. Didn't know what I was getting into. Didn't even study business in college. I was a political science major. Um, at the time it was, I don't know if you guys will remember this, but the original Stinger tees, Stinger branded golf tees, real skinny tee, small head, red S in the cup. That was the entire business. So now it's maybe 1 or 2% of what we do. We still sell some of those, but not many. The business has morphed over the last 17 or so years into uh, mostly club supply, customized golf tees. Golf tees are still our main thing, but we just sell a million different kinds of golf tees, and we sell them to clubs all over the country, mostly the best places, to be honest with you. Just the kind of the customer profile that we go for, as opposed to regionally based businesses. We work with a certain category of customer for the most part, and the genesis of that really is when we were selling mostly Stinger branded golf tees to big retail. We sold them to public golf courses and retailers for the most part. And during the downturn, shortly after I bought the business, uh, a lot of those retailers went out of business, or it became very scary to be so exposed to them. When Golfsmith went out of business, I took a big hit. We were very exposed there, and I decided to try and come up with a way to be valuable to the places that have been around for like 100 years. I'm like, they've been here, they're not going anywhere. What do we have to do to become valuable to them? So we built a product line and um, a structure of the business and the way that we handle our business with them that's different than anybody else. And one phone call and one email at a time, all day, every day for a long while. And it was a real grind to build that business up, but it's now, solid business. And that's the main focus. So we sell most of the consumable type supplies to places like that. And then in the last several years, we were able to add an arm of the business in Western Birch, being a primarily uh, direct consumer driven arm, and it's been a lot of fun. And probably the most fun I've had since I've been in business has been growing that with a guy that I partner with on it named Chad, who's out in Montana. And we talk almost every day, if not multiple times a day, for the last probably 4 or 5 years. And growing that brand has been awesome. It's been my most fun and most rewarding part. It balances out the stress of all the rest of it.
Did you guys know each other from before you started
We
working
did
together?
not. We did not. He called me. We've been making teas for a lot of brands. So in addition to clubs, we manufacture teas for a lot of brands, and I won't get overly specific about it because I don't know how many of them want people to know that they're not making the stuff and we are. But we make teas for. If you see custom teas out there, there's a fair chance we make them. And
Nice.
he found me through one of those groups and came to me with an idea, and the idea that he had has spun into this basically. And at the time, we were making teas for him and selling them to him, and he was reselling them. And it just became obvious that as we grew, that he wanted to be in charge of kind of like the marketing and driving the creative side of the business, and we were already in the making stuff and shipping stuff business. So it sort of made more sense for me to be the owner of the company and handle that part, and he could still do all the stuff that he wanted to do, and I could do the stuff that I was more familiar with, and it's been a good combination.
Well, yeah, because it sounds like you'd already had 10 years worth of experience in figuring out what not to do. So,
Yeah, and we were just here, doing the nuts and bolts part of it more. It made more sense than making stuff, shipping it out to him, having him fill the orders and send them out. It streamlined everything, and it just got everybody in the right lane. And um, he's more of the idea guy, and I'm more of the nuts and bolts guy.
So what would you say over the last 16, 17 years in the golf business space has been maybe one of the best lessons you've learned?
That's a good question.
Keep going one tee at a time or something? I don't know.
Yeah, I think, I mean, for me personally, I just wanted to find something that was going to be a necessity for somebody, and then to try and find a way to be the guy who supplied that to them, whether it be an end user consumer or a club or a store. I think that there's been a lot of trends and things that come and go, but leaning more into the traditional side and then trying to kind of build off of that. I think that the most golfers still like traditional stuff. Even though we've modernized and we've come along with the times and we've tweaked it, we still like traditional stuff. You know, I still wear all white FootJoy golf shoes with no show socks and use wooden golf tees. You know what I mean? I think that, you know, it all goes back to a lot of the same stuff. Now we have just way more options now in everything. But I think that the best part about the Western Birch tees is they look like a tee and they feel like a tee, and they're just a better version of what we were using 20 years ago. It's not like we didn't reinvent the wheel and come up with something totally different. We just made a better version of what people want to use. And I think that holds true with probably most things. I mean, we're still doing the same stuff that our granddads were doing. It's just a better version and a more a modern or more current version.
Yep, we just went playing this last Saturday. Got to use our Best Ball branded Western Birch tees. Hide one up
Those
here.
came out good, I thought.
These are
were
fantastic,
awesome.
man. I did see online. I need to order some. By the way, if you're listening, you can use Best Ball as a discount code at Western Birch. I need to order some of the short tees. I use irons off the tee because I'm really bad at my driver, and so I need to get some of the short tees because I just realized that was a thing. I was just always carrying around broken tees in my pocket and then getting splinters all the time. So
Man, I do the same thing. I still do that. I'll be honest with you. That's not a good sales pitch, but I still do that. I still end up, because I just don't like seeing broken stuff laying around. So when I break one, I always just pick it up and stick it in my pocket. But
yeah,
those shorties are popular. People like them.
yeah.
And the last thing I'll say there is you're missing out. The driver's the easiest club in the bag to hit. So I would spend a few minutes teeing it up and using the biggest club possible, because you're making life much harder on yourself than it needs to be.
And,
No,
and a guy who sells golf tees has to talk about using the driver because, I mean,
Well,
lots of people are
yeah.
hitting that old driver off the deck. We need these tees.
Yeah, I think that business aside, that's a good play.
Yep, I agree. So what sets apart that, you mentioned kind of evolved or made improvements, made them better over the last 20 years or so compared to what we used to use? What makes the Western Birch? I mean, they feel different. They last a long time. I mean, we used them this past Saturday and they, Jonathan, I don't know. I mean, I might
I
have
might have
broken
used two
one.
the whole day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I might have
like I
broken
think I broke
one.
one.
So
And I
what?
used the broken one, like you said, in my pocket for the other 4 or 5 holes.
Yeah. So what? I
Yeah,
mean, what's changed? What makes them better?
it's all different. It really is. It's like we designed that tee from scratch, and I mean, if you want the long story, I can give you the long story. But a long while ago, I was at Inverness Club trying to sell tees to them, and the guy who was the pro there at the time became a good friend of mine. Derek Brody is his name, and he said, "I want you to design me the most durable possible wooden golf tee you can." He's like, "I want like." Is that something we can do? And, it just got you thinking. And fast forward a whole bunch. I mean, they didn't end up buying exactly what this is now, but fast forward a whole bunch to now. And the construction of that tee is totally different than, I shouldn't say totally different. It's significantly different than a regular golf tee. It's just larger in overall profile, but still in their same proportions. So it still looks right and feels right and works. And it's also, they're all made from the absolute best possible raw materials, the certain parts of the batches of raw material that are the most fibrous and the most durable. So the base of the tee itself is as good as we can possibly get a wooden tee to be. I mean, I personally almost never break one of them. Eventually, they'll splinter sometimes down the middle from the force of the impact over and off, but I almost never like snap one in two, almost never. And, the cups will chip a little bit maybe. So it's nice, you just throw one in your pocket and you're kind of good to go. And then from a design standpoint, we just kind of made it cool and fun. we have a million different color schemes in our different stripe patterns, and you can buy as few as 50 tees at a time, one package of tees in a super customized look. And normally you would have to buy tens of thousands of tees to be able to do that. You can buy one pack of 50. And if you are a guy who likes, or a gal who likes blue and gold, or whatever, we've got one that matches for you. If you just want a million different jazzy looking ones and mix them up and throw them in your bag and pull them out and they're all cool, you can do that too. If you want to take them and drop a personal logo on them or a business logo or something, we can do that in a very short run with a short turnaround. We just made it so you could kind of express yourself. You could match whatever you want to match. We just created tons of options in an approachable way, where you don't have to buy in bulk to get something that looks cool. And so it's a combination of the tee itself, the base construction of the tee, and then, having 10 million of them laying around in all different color schemes, and you can pick and choose from what you want and have them in a couple of days. It's just not something that existed before. And, I'm certainly not trying to take credit for that idea. And in large part, it was Chad. And then it's something that we've sort of morphed into over time. It's not like I had this epiphany one day. It's just, we kind of listened to the customers, listened to what people wanted, paid attention to what they were buying, what their habits were. And we just continued to tweak it a little bit as we went. And that's the beauty of being able to do it in a small business setting is, you can pivot when it needs to. And so all that kind of stuff is why it's been fun, because it's different all the time. And we're really, reading people and providing what they want and what they're getting enthusiastic about. And people love these. It's crazy. I'm like blown away every day at how many of these things we sell. It's an amazing thing. And we are beyond appreciative.
It's fun watching especially lately, the customization of all of golf, right? You talked about
Sure.
the golf tees and all the colors and stuff, but custom bags, custom, markings on your balls, and custom everything, right? Clothes, obviously.
Totally.
Why do you think, maybe it is the people want to express themselves. Why do you think that the custom accessory market has really taken off?
I think that's it. I think it's definitely people's desire to express their personal style in any way they can. And then I think that it's just the ability to be able to do it. I think maybe people have always wanted to do that, but the explosion of direct consumer based businesses where you're getting really personal on every item, and they're small batch runs or super customized, like really heavily customer involved experiences, like, one-on-one interactions. And then I think once people realized how much they like that, then it started to translate to all the products. And it's definitely the case. I agree with you 100%. You look out and you almost never see anybody with like cookie cutter stuff anymore. They, especially, if you're an enthusiast, you've got exactly what you want on everything. And it was never like that before. I think it's just the access. I think people probably always wanted to do it, but once they were exposed to it, they had to have it on everything.
Was there a technology shift over after the last, decade or so that made this more possible? Or is it just simply you feel like it's being completely driven by the consumer?
You're printing on the inside of a curved cup.
Right.
There's something.
Yeah.
Something's changed. That's awesome.
What kind of paintbrush do you guys use? I didn't know if that's like
Tiny one. No, those cups are actually printed digitally. They're printed on a digital printer. But I think social media is probably the biggest driver. People are you can reach people. It's easy. So if you have an idea and I shouldn't say it's easy, but it's possible. And if you have an idea and you have an ability to do it, you can get to people and you can get in front of them. You can show them. And if it's cool enough, someone
will buy it. Yeah. I just bought a hat today just because I saw it on social media. I was like, oh, I don't have a hat like that. I don't even know if I'll wear it, to be honest. But I'll post it somewhere. We're looking at background stuff and things like that. And it's just something super simple and easy that's like one of those, why didn't I think of that? It's not redesigning a golf tee from the ground up and understanding wood and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, like I said, it's available. It's out there.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of impulse type purchases, I'm the least likely person to do that. I don't really care about like stuff. I don't have like 100 head covers and, a million. I have like a million visors. That's about like the only thing I have a million of. And even I'm doing the same thing. Like I'm scrolling on there and I go, I didn't know I needed those, but those are cool. And I'll just buy them. But if it wasn't in front of you, you would never do that. So I think it's just people are able to reach you. And like I said, if you have something that's cool that like sort of speaks to somebody, then they're willing to buy it. And especially for us, I mean, in a lot of these things, I think a lot of these small accessory type things, it's not a big purchase. So you try one pack of our tees. If you don't like them, you're out $8 or whatever, and so be it. But if you do like them, you're sticking around and you're loyal. And we found that people are. I mean, we do what we can to get a first purchase out of you, to seed, via different, because once we feel like once you start using our tees, then you're going to stick around.
Do you have the numbers on return buyers? What people are coming back if they buy
that's a Chad question, man.
That's a Chad. Okay.
that's a Chad question. Well, you'll have to get him on episode 2, but I know we do very well there, and we do very well with the most powerful thing that we have probably at this point is our email list. It's all past customers. There's no fluff in there. So when we do send something out, whether it's a new drop or whatever, it's all people that we know have purchased before, and it's very successful in that way. We see continuing support from the same people, and we see a lot of somebody will buy one pack and then they come back and they buy 5,000 tees custom, or they buy 10 packs of 10 different colorways or something like that. So that's the kind of the pattern that you see is they dabble and then they dive.
Hey golf friends, this is Robbie from Best Ball. Are you looking for the ultimate Myrtle Beach golf experience? Well, it's only a click away. Check out the 2-play special at 2 of America's most awarded public golf courses and 2 of my personal favorites. Caledonia Golf and Fish Club and True Blue Golf Club are low country masterpieces featuring 2 iconic Mike Strantz designs. Play these 2 incredible courses for one great price. Visit truebluegolf.com to learn more about the 2-play special and book your tee time today. That's truebluegolf.com. Now,
obviously this is direct to consumer in a lot of places, but it sounds like behind the scenes you're still dealing with a lot of courses, high-end places, it sounds like, because I'm starting to think through all the different tees that I've found now at golf courses that I've played and thinking, I wonder if those are made by these guys too.
Yeah, there's a good chance. I mean, we definitely sell some Western Birch tees to golf courses as well, to clubs. Not many because they're expensive, but certain ones buy them. On the other side of the business, on the Stinger Golf, kind of under the Stinger Golf umbrella, we sell to a couple hundred places, and mostly, like I said, mostly kind of a who's who kind of list. Certainly not, it's a small business. I mean, we're not selling to everybody by any means, but certainly a lot of the tees that you've seen, we likely made 2 rooms over from where I'm sitting right now. And it's usually really nice places only because those tend to be the kind of places that care a lot about this kind of stuff. So the more you care, the more valuable we are going to be, because we really get into the nitty gritty and design and how we're manufacturing them and in what quantities we sell to you and how we sort of tailor it. We take a lot of pride in that part of it. So for somebody who, for a facility that really cares a lot and wants to have all the details taken care of, I feel like we appeal the most to people like that. If you're looking to buy something that's fairly basic, there's a million places you could get it from. So we've sort of carved out a little niche in that category of customer.
It's nice going to a course. One, you're excited to already be there, but then you get to either the clubhouse to check in or the starter tee, and you see that that box of nice tees, and
right.
it's an extra perk, I guess, of being there. And
sure.
I'm guessing most of those have been what you guys have done. So thank you for providing some nice custom tees for us.
Thank you for taking them in handfuls. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
so at this point, I've already figured out how can I display hats, because everyone's got hat places, and then of course you got ball markers, you got balls, And I've never thought about it, but I'm already in my head trying to figure out how can I post all of the different tees that I get from places. Like you need to come up with some sort of shadow box that you could sell along with a package, and then I could go ahead and just stick them in there. That way, I've got them out there too.
Yeah, you'll see. I'll drop one name only because I know he won't care, but we've been doing the stuff for the Buck Club forever, from way back. And every once in a while, Zach will post a picture of like a giant vat of like all the different, because we've made a bazillion different styles for him.
Yeah.
And it's wild to look at just like this crazy hodgepodge of a million different designs. And people will put them in like a glass vase or something like that. You see sometimes. So there's different ways to do it. People like collecting stuff. It's a memento. It's a way to have a memory from going somewhere cool or having a fun day or doing something. And, yeah, it's definitely, it's a fun thing to see. It's a fun thing to see people collect them. It's a fun thing to go somewhere. I get a kick out of it every single time I go somewhere and I look in the box and I go, I literally made those. Like, it's wild. It's cool to me. I did a design for a guy the other day and I was like, I'm just telling you, you're gonna have to order a lot of those because they're going to disappear. And, it's almost like the cooler that they look, the worse for the guy because he's got to buy more because, they're just going to vanish. So it's definitely, the people, whether it's members or guests or whatever that come through, they obviously respond because for a relatively small amount of money, you can really make an impact on somebody and show them and have like a cool offering out there. And it elevates the whole day. I mean, it's only one small piece, but if you're a club and you have 50 little touch points like that around,
right,
it changes it. There's a reason why. Obviously, the golf course is the first thing, in my opinion. I mean, I'm a golf course nut, but when you talk about a place that's cool, sometimes it's not the golf course that's the coolest part, but sometimes the place is really cool, and a lot of times it's that kind of stuff that adds up to like just you had the coolest day at a place because of these 50 little things that they got going on.
I've started to judge golf courses now whether or not they have a box of short tees on a par three. Because I went to one. Honestly, I didn't even know short tees were a thing.
Yeah.
And then I go to one, there's a box sitting there, and it's also branded. Again, probably you guys doing it. And I'm like, every course should have this at their par threes. Because you're going to talk about this. You're going to pull it out someday at another golf course and say, oh, man, I went and played this course. Let me tell you how much fun it was. And you're going to describe at least one or two holes while you're walking down the fairway or in the cart with a buddy. And drum up that interest in those conversations. And now with Instagram and everything else or whatever with your phone, 9 times out of 10, you're taking a picture of whatever that is and posting it saying, hey, here I am for the day.
It's 100% right. I've had conversations with people before it. Let's say it's a place, with high traffic, a resort type place where, with some public access. And people will say, well, I can't design a tee like that because we're going to go through a million of them a year or something like that. And I'm like, but for a couple of pennies per piece, what could you do for a couple of pennies that's going to start a conversation with somebody down the road about your place? I was here. Where's that tea from? Oh, that's cool. How is that place? Yeah, we were just there. 8 guys, had the best time. I mean, what could you do for a couple of pennies that's going to do that? There's nothing.
No.
And if you can see it the right way, it's an investment and it should pay for itself a millionfold. But you have to get people to buy into the idea of spending a hair more and trying to recoup that on the back end, or not even recouping it, but just kind of giving people the best experience possible.
My high school football coach said little things win big games, and little things like custom tees at the tee box can add to the experience, exactly like you're talking about. And I mean, we absolutely love the ones you've done for us, and
Good.
Yeah, giving them out, and people love seeing them. So we really appreciate it. But we always kind of tend to kind of divert back to a golf story, and we want to hear. I mean, obviously, you said not a great player, but a good player. But if you played college golf, you're a great player.
Probably. Okay.
So we want to hear, what's your most memorable golf shot?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I kind of cheated and thought about this a little bit before, because I've listened to a bunch of you guys' podcasts. There's one that sticks out. That was like it just pops into my brain. It's a short backstory. I was a good high school player. Again, nothing great. I was never going to be a professional golfer or anything like that. Like not even for a second. But I was good, and I won a lot of junior golf tournaments and local stuff. And I was quite good in high school relative to the local competition and had never made the state tournament. I was a senior and playing the 17th hole of our district, which is one step before the state, and I had shot 40 or something on the front and got it together and was a few under on the back. And I knew I was real close. And I just remember it's a par three. I could picture it exactly right now. Windmill Lakes golf course, nothing special about it. But the pin was back right, and I hit a 6-iron 15 feet right over top of the flag onto the back fringe, almost right up against the collar where you kind of had to pick your putter up steeply. And I knocked it in and made the state tournament and played really well down there. So like that 6-iron to me, it seems sort of like just one out of a million, but that sticks with me because that was the shot that did it. And, and I kind of had to have it. And, 20 some odd years later, it's still right on the top of my mind almost, which is so nuts, but it's true.
That's really cool. It happened in competition too, because to Robbie's point of you're probably a decent golfer since you got to play at college. Most of us don't have a competition shot that actually made a difference. Ours is like a regular Saturday morning stuff. So, and
Yeah,
it's nice that you drained it because most people miss the next shot. That's the rest of the story. I hit this great shot, and then I missed my 3-putt for birdie.
Yeah, I just remember it's fun. I could think of a million shots that were better, or even probably better, way better shots in competition. But for that one was everything at the time because it was sort of like, well, why have you not made the state tournament before? Like when I was a sophomore, I was good, but it wasn't weird not to make it. And then as a junior, I totally should have and didn't. And then I went out there, was certainly, a favorite to get through easily and shoot a terrible score on the front nine, totally choking, I'm sure. And, if you can't help but think like if I go home today and I don't get through, it's all I'm going to have to talk about. So it's like, there's obviously it's more about the meaning of what it did than the shot, but the shot was good.
That's awesome.
Today's podcast is sponsored by Atomic Golf. If you need custom ball markers, divot repair tools, and more that are made from high-quality materials like solid copper and brass and look really good, then you should check out our friends at Atomic Golf. If courses like Old Barnwell, Landman, Sweetens Cove, and more are already working with them, then you should too. Visit atomicgolf.club and follow them on Instagram at atomicgolf.
Awesome. All right. Well, since you cheated a little bit, you probably know what's coming next. We always like to finish up with the quick 9. As I like to say, you can be as loquacious as possible or short answered as well. Number 1, what is the favorite course that you've played?
A little bit of recency bias, but I played Fisher's Island last summer.
Nice.
Off the charts, just an off the charts. The whole experience, the trip was I was with 3 friends, and the whole trip was really fun. And we did all kinds of, we had to take like multiple boats and all kinds of stuff to get over there. And then you get out there and it was just like the most beautiful day you could imagine. And it was, I think about it all the time. It was that good. It was just, the golf course was incredible. The experience was as good, and the company, it was a memorable one. So that's at this moment, it's at the top of the list until I do something better.
Do they have Fisher's Island tees there?
They do.
Very good. Very good.
They're
All
just
right,
sprinkled on the ground. He
just threw them everywhere.
He just brought them and threw them around.
Oh no, they buy them.
Good stuff. Well, what's your bucket list course?
The easiest answer obviously is Augusta, so I don't even count it. I think the next one, I've got a million, because I've got a long list. But Royal Melbourne sticks out to me as just, when I see that sandbelt golf, it just looks like the best possible style of golf in the world to me. I've never been there, so it's hard to say that, but that sticks out to me for sure. That style and the Heathland style in like outside London, that to me, for some reason, that appeals to my eye more than like a links, like a seaside links. So those are the 2 places that I want to go most. If I had more time and money, that's where you'd catch me.
Who's in your dream foursome whenever you get to those bucket lists?
That's an easy one too. Tiger Woods, Rory McIlroy, and my brother-in-law. It's an easy 3. The first 2 are obvious. I've watched, I'm going to say like 95+% of Tiger Woods' televised golf shots, I would say. I mean, there's not, certainly like pre-injury. I mean, I would DVR every single round of every single PGA Tour event Thursday, and zip through it to watch him play. He's the one for me. And then Rory, I just have always really liked him, and he seems like a great dude to hang out with for a day. And then the reason why, in part, my brother-in-law is one of my closest friends, if not my closest friend, and you got to have like a little context in there. So it's like, you got to be able to talk about it with somebody after, like, could you believe what he did on this? You can't just say it to somebody, like let's say you threw somebody else, another pro in there. Then when you got done, you were like, you can't say like, well, Tiger hit it, around this tree on number 4. Like you had to have somebody else who was standing there with you. So you kind of need one other commenter.
No one would believe you if you had.
Yeah. And it just, at least the two of you would have seen it with your own eyes. So I think that's an important one.
Well, Tiger,
apologies to my dad.
Yeah, no worries. Tiger, we know you're listening, so go to westernbirch.com and use Best Ball, and they'll send you a free gift with your Sunday red tee
That's right.
that they're going to make for you. So if you could have the swing or one piece of a swing of any pro golfer, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a good one. I'm a swing guy, too. Let's see. I mean, the one that I always go back and look at is Tiger 99, even before 2000, I think 99, he was, it was almost maybe like a little, if I'm remembering correctly, maybe it was either 99 or 2001, because 2000 was the year that he did the dominating. But I remember one of those 2 years, I always thought the swing looked a little better. But I mean, if you could take it back the way that he took it back, I think you'd have a hard time hitting it bad coming down. So I think that the backswing of Tiger in his prime would be pretty good.
I think most golfers would prefer that in their golf game.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you could set it right there, you're probably going to hit most of them all right.
Probably use your driver instead of your irons off the tee.
Yeah, you could manage to hit a driver.
Probably. All right. What is your favorite snack on the course?
I don't really eat on the golf course. I know that's an unpopular one, but I play most of my golf like first thing in the morning. So I'm not a breakfast guy. I don't usually eat anything first thing in the morning. At best, I'll have an apple out there. So not a fun answer. If I was getting real wild, Uncrustable is always good if it's at the right time. But I usually kind of eat after.
All right, we talked about impulse purchase before. I almost pulled the trigger and got the Western Birch hat with T-Pack on your
Wait,
site.
we got some new hats. We got some new hats coming, so hold out.
All right. Well, I mean, y'all have a great logo. We're buddies with Seth McWhorter. I know he's helped do some stuff for you guys, but we always ask what's your favorite golf course logo?
I look at a lot of logos, and there's a lot of good ones. My preference for a logo is like an icon, like a symbol, as opposed to like a crest or a name or something like that. So I kind of like the ones that are like little animals or something like that. And I just fell in love with this new place. Have you guys heard of the park? It's in West Palm. It was like the West Palm Muni that they redid.
Yeah.
Have you heard about this?
Talking about that lately. Yeah.
Okay. So this place is the coolest place going. I mean, it was like a $20 Muni. A bunch of guys from Seminole, led by, and I hope I get this story right, led by Seth Waugh, the president of the PGA of America, and they raised like $100 million or something like that privately. And Gil Hanse came in and redid the golf course, blew it up, and redid it. But it's on kind of the same dune ridge that Seminole is on, and that it's like just further down. So the raw land was phenomenal. Apparently, this is just from what I've read and heard. The golf course is off the charts good. I mean, it's unbelievable. And it's a municipal golf course. And, it's like a place for the community. You see guys and their kids running around with T-shirts and sandals on. And, when I played there last time, I had a pair of gym shorts on and a T-shirt. It's just the best. And the golf course is phenomenal. It's so fun. You cannot lose a golf ball. It's impossible. There's no water. It's just the coolest place. And anyway, they've got this little parrot logo with like a flag, and it's great. And I love everything about the park. So that's my favorite logo for right now.
It's awesome.
That place is sick. Like, run there. It's awesome.
I think that might be where Jeff Marsh was saying he's heading down soon.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So yeah,
They're
Fun.
actually playing the, that match thing they do, the made for TV thing.
oh
So
yeah,
the next one of those, and it's soon, it might
it's
be
like
like next
Monday, I
week,
think.
is there. It's Max Homa, Rory, and Lexi Thompson and Rojang. It's there. So you
Yeah,
get a peek at it.
that's gonna be really cool.
It's cool.
All right. So obviously you pay attention to merchandise. Whenever you visit a new course, what merchandise are you typically drawn to
Um,
besides tees?
I buy a hat always. That's kind of my thing. I stopped buying shirts because I feel like they kind of either wear out or kind of go out of style, or like that kind of stuff changes, and then it's like you're stuck with something that you wish you could wear, but it doesn't go anymore. It doesn't fit you or whatever. So I feel like a hat is always there for you. It's timeless, and it's like easy to swap them in and out all the time. I've got a million of them. I don't wear regular hats though. I don't own a single hat. Like, they just look terrible on me. Could not possibly look worse. So I wear only visors, like a big tour, like a tour visor, or a bucket hat. So those are my two, and I buy one at almost every single place I go. It's just, that's my little like memory thing. I try not, I'm not, like I said, I'm not big on like accumulating stuff, but I like to make one little donation, and that's usually it.
What's
Although I
the
did buy a
what?
shirt at the park, so that tells you how much I like the park.
There, well, Jonathan, we need to go, man. Gas up the car. Let's go. What's the funniest thing you've printed on a golf tee? Made for radio audience here.
Yeah. So my general manager is a lady called Lisa Davis. She's been with me for a long time, and she comes in often and is like, "Are you okay? You okay if we put this on there?" And she's got a little bit more of a filter than I do, so I will usually let her decide. But I'm sure you guys know what that meme, that berry meme. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
We could take it offline, but we've gotten many, many, many orders with those. We've gotten some with little sayings in the cup that are not flattering, that I would assume are like a gift for someone, like "you're a blank blank" or something like that. A lot of stuff like that. I've gotten some pictures. We can print a photograph in there. It's not the best thing to do, but it comes out. And I've
Really?
gotten some pictures of some people, like either like a mug shot or like really banged up after like a bad night at a bachelor party or something like that, like just looking like your absolute worst. Gotten a few of those. There's some funny stuff. It's usually rather tame, but every once in a while Lisa knocks on my door with something that she needs to run by me.
Sounds like there's not very many limits, so that's always fun.
Yeah, we as long as it's not offensive in a,
Yeah.
you know what I'm getting at. Then we'll pretty much do it. If it's funny and edgy, we'll do it, as long as it's not like, if it's not something I wouldn't want to be known that came from us, I won't do it. But other than
Yeah.
that, if edgy is okay.
Yeah, that's a good rule though. If they're gonna tag you online, you're okay if the picture shows up.
Yeah, it's if it's something that you wouldn't want to stand behind as a person, I'm not going to print it on there.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be totally above board. We got some gray area.
So besides maybe more or less offensive wood teas, what's next for Western Birch?
Um, we've been pretty focused on trying to stay in our lane and do what we do as best as possible. We've finally gotten to the point where we have our kind of like our inventory and our lineup and everything really solid. So we've started to kick around some other things. So you mentioned Seth before. Seth has done all of our branding work with our logos and things, and we just entered into a new partnership with him where he's going to design artwork for the cups of the teas for some like kind of limited drops and seasonal stuff, or like stuff centered around events and things. So that's going to be cool. And we're going to have like a section on our website with just kind of McWhorter collab designs with us,
That's awesome.
which is cool. We've done some stuff where we'll sell merch a little bit, but we don't really, we make some of it, but not all of it, where we'll buy it from other companies just to have something. We don't claim to be a clothing company, so we're not pretending like that, but we buy it we've done some stuff recently with Swannies, which has been awesome. There's a hoodie on there that's like my favorite thing. It's unbelievable. I wear it every single time for cold weather golf. It's really good. But the next step with them is we're thinking about doing a collab where we do a lineup with some clothing and some tees to complement, and we'll sell them potentially on their site and our site, or maybe just we drive everybody to them, but a little bit more of a collab type thing as opposed to us just purchasing logoed merchandise. So things like that, I think, are the next step. Partnerships with other brands, and you know, I'm not just going to continue to just like evolve or innovate for the sake of it. It's got to be worth it. We also sell some wooden engraved, fully customizable wooden bag tags and divot tools on the site now, which is a new thing that are really cool. So if it's worthwhile, I'm ready to expand a little bit, but we're not trying to be everything to everyone. We want to just do the best we possibly can with what we do, and I think that's enough. We're not going to be the best at everything.
Yeah. Saw a social media post. You had maybe some tea bags coming out.
Yeah, we've got some valuables pouches that are in the works. I'm trying to think of some other stuff. These are really Chad questions, man. I'm telling you, he's the creative guy. He's the one who comes up with the ideas. When I have an idea, it's usually a big flop. Like I just don't. I've learned now that I don't even. I'll offer my 2 cents on something, but I don't come to the table with a lot of ideas. But yeah, we have valuables pouches that are cool. I mean, that's one thing that I actually would buy in a golf shop. I have a valuables pouch in my bag from Chicago Golf Club. I played there like 10 years ago maybe, and it's been in my bag. And if I lost it, I would be like devastated, you know, so I thought that would be kind of a cool little thing to have. You know, you could have all your teas in there. Just little stuff like that to have somebody be able to have it be a permanent thing in their bag, I think is good. And then it's a little reminder if it gets low, they can buy some teas.
Well,
good deal.
That's it's fun to watch what you guys are doing. Y'all are doing some great stuff, man. It's really fun. We really appreciate the teas you guys did for us. Bud Lewis, we appreciate you joining us on the Whole Story Podcast to talk some golf.
Yeah, well, thanks guys for having me. I hope it was interesting in some way. I get more excited about golf tees than most people, so hopefully others will find it to be interesting. But I appreciate what you guys are doing. I listen to almost every one, and if you get to Cleveland, call me. We'll play.
Oh man, absolutely! If you get down to the Carolinas or the Augusta area, come on, let us know. But
you got it.
Yeah. Yep. So for Lewis and Jonathan, this is Robbie. We appreciate you guys listening. Of course, go to westernbirch.com. Use the code BESTBALL in the shipping cart when you're checking out, and you get a little prize or a little gift from the folks at Western Birch. But again, this is Robbie and Jonathan. We appreciate you all listening to the Whole Story Podcast.